AITA entitled mom demands I support my 7 half-siblings and give her my money, punishing son for.
Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my mom financially because she paid for all my younger siblings' stuff but not mine? I'm 26F. I have 7 siblings. Ages 23 meters, 21 meters, 17F, 13F, 13F, 9F, 9 meters. All of us minus the twins have different dads and she has never had a stable boyfriend. Now, being the oldest, a lot of the mother responsibilities were passed off onto me. I babysat all of the kids until I moved out at 16 and my now 17 sister even called me mom until she was 6. I taught my 4 youngest siblings how to walk. Taught all of them to ride a bike. Homeschooled my youngest sibling because he has learning disabilities. I also had all cooking and cleaning responsibilities and was forced into a night job at age 15 to help her support the household, as well as being a full-time student and caregiver when home. When I moved out at 16, my grandmother moved in as my replacement. I never held this against my mom, even though it was her decision to have so many kids and force me into a mother role. However, I became extremely resentful of the fact that she bought my 23-yo, 21-yo and 17-yo siblings all cars. They were second-hand. Yes. But she never even offered to help me pay for a car, let alone buy me one. She also paid for at least half of their college tuition. I didn't go to college because I not only could not afford it but I also did terrible in school due to working and being exhausted from being a parent to kids that aren't mine. It really fucked with my grades, meaning no scholarship. I'm doing great now. I have a fantastic job, my own house and have bought my car outright. I'm proud of myself. But now that my home and car have proven to my mom that I have money, I never discuss my money with her. She has started asking for handouts. Loans that I know she will never pay back, basically, as she has never paid me back before. Last night she asked for $200. Didn't say why. I told her no, and when she asked, I said maybe you should ask your other kids. You know, the ones that you bought cars for and put through college. Versus asking the one kid who didn't get jack shit besides a mothering role. She flipped out and said that she never did that and that I was basically being a drama queen and needed to grow up. AITA? Am I the a-hole for wanting to move out because of my brother? Small heads up. My parents originate from the Middle East, where it is pretty much the norm to live with your parents till marriage. Anyways, I'm/23 want to move out from my parents' place mainly because of my older brother 32. Up until now I never had a real problem living together with my parents. I've been financially independent from them for a few years now, and even though I still pay monthly rent and pay into the household expenses, it still comes out cheaper than living alone and I'd have more money to spend on myself. But here comes in my brother. As context, my brother is a heavy drug addict. Most of our biggest problems in the past happened because of him, and my parents are still to this date in heavy debt, trying to pay bills for him. The only reason my parents put up with it all was because of his 2 sons 7 and 5 whom my parents love dearly. But 2 years ago, his wife finally divorced him, upon which he forged false evidence to hinder her possibility of taking custody of the children, saying that before he lets her win against him, he'd let the government take the children, which is why they are both in a foster family since then. This ended up in a big fight with us and him and us more or less abandoning and blocking him. Fast forward to the present day. A few months back my brother showed up out of nowhere and now lives with us as if nothing ever happened. My parents didn't do anything against him reappearing in our lives, despite him not having changed. He is still doing drugs, is still participating in criminal activities, and we still didn't hear anything about the children in the past 2 years. I'm constantly fighting with my parents and my brother that he has to peep off and he deserves none of our kindness. But since I'm the youngest I have to shut up and obey the elders. He constantly demands money from my parents and indirectly also from me, since I now have to support my parents even more. My parents only tolerate him is because he is their only chance to see their grandsons again. But quite frankly, he doesn't care about them at all and only uses them to use our parents. The last straw for me was when he invaded my room while I was away for the weekend, vomited on the floor, scarred the hell out of my cat so much that she doesn't come out from under my bed anymore, and my mother just shrugging it off. Because it wasn't his fault. It was the drugs. I have finally decided to move out in November. My parents both hate me for that decision. telling me that I'm just running away and abandoning my family. That they need me and they would struggle financially if I moved out now. While I'd love to help my parents out, at the same time I just can't tolerate my brother anymore and I can't tolerate my parents' indecisive actions against him. So am I the a-hole for abandoning my family and moving out? P.S. Sorry for that incredibly long text wall. Am I the a-hole for making my son give up the signifiers of wealth at school, designer clothes and sneakers? Being driven in nice cars because he was making fun of kids for being less wealthy than us? I am a mother to a teenage boy. The father is hardly in the picture. He pays child support and that's about it. He is very absent otherwise. Another relevant thing. I'm pretty well off. I work in tech. My son's father is extremely wealthy and the court order for child support is enough to pay for the best for my son. He goes to a fairly competitive private school, is in a lot of extracurriculars that cost a decent bit, etc. I found out from school administration just this month that my son had been bullying several students for being less wealthy. For being dropped off at school in a budget sedan. For having name brands clothes that are not as expensive as other name brands. I was appalled by his behaviors. I had a talk with him about how this was wrong. And also about how it's not something that he should have any personal pride in. He has no job. No savings. No investments. No wealth of his own. By totally random chance he happened to be born into good circumstances. And that's it. The school admin and I arranged an apology between him and all the kids he was bullying. I also decided that this year, we're thrift shopping for clothes. No more brand name sneakers or clothes. And rather than driving him to school and activities in the Porsche or the Jaguar, I'm driving him everywhere in my '92 Jeep that was one of my first cars that I mostly keep around for nostalgia and off-roading. It's really beaten up. I've rolled it. Taken off the doors. Tried to fix the paint with rattle cans at one point, lol, young and dumb at that point. And for any activities he joins, he can borrow club equipment instead of getting his own bought. He was really upset about it all. Especially being driven to school and activities in the Jeep. He said that it was causing problems with his friends. He was looking bad at school. His friends' parents didn't want their kids getting in such an old vehicle with no doors. He also said that it was embarrassing him for me to pretend he's poor. His dad, who overall has been very absent, got upset with me because apparently word had gotten around his circles that his son was being driven around town in a junker and that I was making him use the club gear for sports instead of his own. And that was not a fair punishment because impressions matter and it will affect the rest of his life. Am I the a-hole for having this approach to parenting my son who was bullying kids for being poor? I don't buy him new designer things or drive him places in luxury cars anymore. We shop at thrift stores and if I am taking him to school I drive a car from '92. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy my video please subscribe and leave like.